Hey guys, how's it going? It's been a while, it's been some time. I've been pretty busy with things in fact, in all the facets family, work, my social obligations, things that I endeavor, things I want to do. There's just so many things I need to get on par with. So I've been pretty busy, still setting up things, doing, changing, moving, and all this. But I wanted to do a video tonight, and also just to know if all of you are doing good. I mean, I would really like to know if you can just post, put your comments to let me know how things are with you. And I sincerely hope all of you are faring well. Yeah, okay, let's talk about a secret in Venus. Okay, this is not known by many. Okay, unfortunately, the online community really don't talk about the principles, the very core of things. Now, the core of things, the principles, are the one which gives us the bigger picture. All right. Normally, what I see online is like quick fixes or a very superficial understanding about things. Vedic astrology, as its name applies, is from the Vedas. All right. These are highly cryptic. It's a very difficult thing to understand. So we need to make sure that whenever we read something in Vedic astrology, the thing that has to be etched in our mind is that Vedic astrology is a tool to understand if we would, or rather, Vedic astrology is a tool for us to know if we are on the path of dharma. I'm going to repeat that again. Vedic astrology is a tool to show us if we are on the path of dharma. All right. Now, what is this path of dharma? The path of dharma, or the path of righteousness, virtue, and all that, is the one which leads us into our ultimate spiritual goal, which is salvation, moksha. Okay, moksha is what we should aspire, as a Vedantist, or as a Hindu. You have to have that as your ultimate goal. How do you reach that? There is this interesting phrase which I've been reading lately. Is in one of the Bhakti Sutras. I think it's Nardya Bhakti Sutras. The phrase is catchy. It goes Siddho Bhavati, Amrito Bhavati, Tikto Bhavati. Okay? Siddho Bhavati means the spiritual perfection, okay, which one can only get through spiritual sadhanas or practices. And of course, spiritual sadhanas and practices comes from renunciation, means removing the things of materialism. Okay, so our expectations is the core thing when it comes to Siddho Bhavati. The second of that sequence to attain the last one is Amrito Bhavati, is immortality. Immortality doesn't mean we don't die physically. It's not what it meant. It means the knowledge of Brahman. Okay, if one attains that knowledge of Brahman, then we will break the shackles of this material world, right? So we will find the utmost peace, complete peace, once we understand what is the nature of the universe and Brahman. Okay, and at the end, if we have completed spiritual practice, Siddho Bhavati, and we understand Brahman, Amrito Bhavati, and the last would be Tikto Bhavati, is complete peace and the complete joy, complete bliss of life. Okay. Now I'm saying this because if one needs to attain that, the bliss, the sublime feeling that we have within, we need to start with the Siddho Bhavati. Now, Siddho Bhavati is spiritual practices. Okay. Now, spiritual practices is what I meant earlier by walking on the path of dharma. Okay. Now, one of the core components to do that, or to actually walk on the path of dharma, is to have least expectations in materialistic gains and desires, and the highest expectation in spiritual desires. Okay, that is the core prerequisite, is the requirement, the preliminary conditions for us to be on the path of dharma. Okay, now remember, when you're on the path of dharma, one may think, if I'm on the path of dharma, would that make me a person who's like a mendicant or a monk, or just, you know, walk around with robes and things like that? No, not quite. When a person is on the path of dharma, he or she will also notice that their life in the materialistic world will also elevate, will also increase, because you are on the path of dharma. It needs to be supported with finance and social connections, and all the materialistic factors would improve. So your money will come in, your relationship will be in bliss, your health will be in perfect conditions, and whatnot. All the superficial facets would increase and improve. Okay, so remember, when you walk on the path of dharma, it doesn't mean that you will be a monk or a mendicant, or you will lose all renounce. No, it's not the point. The point is for us to complete the four stages: the brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. Okay, so you can gauge yourself where you are in this sequence. But anyways, going back to Venus, why I'm saying all this is to make you understand that Vedic astrology is the study of attaining moksha. How do we break the shackles of samsara? All right. So one of the core things which is required, or the prerequisite, is the least expectation and desires in the materialistic or superficial domain, and the highest desire in the spiritual life. And remember, it doesn't mean that your least expect in the materialistic gain would make you poor or miserable in terms of your relationship. It doesn't work that way. In fact, on the contrary, it improves everything. Okay, so it's essential that we must know that what does it take for us to be on the path of dharma. Okay, now the thing that shows that in our chart is Venus. Okay, so this is, again, it's not like a secret. Okay, every astrologer or every trained astrologer should know this. Okay, Venus, if it's in a bad dignity, okay, say if your Venus is debilitated, or it's in Astangata, or it's got a bad avastha, whatever, right? Then you will be primarily focused in expectations at the expense of another person, of another thing. Okay, I'm going to repeat that again. Your desires, if you have a weak Venus, your desires of getting things will be at the expectation or at the expense of another person, of another thing. Okay, I want a relationship, a perfect relationship. I desire to have a perfect relationship, but I expect my partner to give me respect. I expect my partner to do this, do that, and so on and so forth. Right? When we have that, then it changes everything. It doesn't work that way, right? Because we are expecting on another person or another thing, right? Oh, I'm doing all this work, I expect to have a promotion, and if you don't get it, then hell bent, everything goes wrong, and so on. So it is, I mean, I can go on giving you examples, but the fact here is that the takeaway here is that understand that when Venus is in a weak dignity, then we are bound by the expense. Our happiness is desire is based on them or other things, on the object, right? Essentially, the desire should be on a subjective level, on you yourself, right? So how do you differentiate this? How do you reduce the expectations that you have on others? Because clearly in the Vedas it says, if you expect, you will be in a very bad situation. Things will be messed up with you. You'll be sorrowful. Things never really happens if you expect. Okay. Now expectation is the same when Venus is in a good position. Same thing. Venus gives expectation, but because it is in a good dignity, right? It gives us positive, subjective expectation, which means you expect to have a good partner, you expect to have that promotion, you expect to have that bank balance and so on, you expect to have that perfect health and all that, but the focal point of expectation is God. It's not the other thing or the object that you're looking for. No, because you are not expecting, you are hoping. There's two different things here. When you hope something, you want it, but the decision is based, you can do your best obviously, but the decision is based not by another person, another thing, another situation, but is based on God's will. All right, God makes the decision, ultimate decision. When we have that, when we create a habitual thought process that everything that we do is centered, or the focal point is God, all right, hope is built, belief is built. Right? In that way, even if you don't get something, you would not be in despair. Okay, in fact, you will be more. It comes as a lesson, and you put more effort on it because you're hoping. You can't blame God, right? So even if there's no element of God, then it's purest expectation, I would say, is hope. Okay, the more adulterated expectation is what we get from ourselves, from our jivatma. Okay, so remember, at the expense of another, when Venus is wrong, when Venus is in a weak position or in a bad dignity, the hope and expectation which is placed on God when Venus is in a good position. So by doing so, both are desires or expectation of something, but in a very different point of view. Okay, so look at your charts and see how Venus is positioned, and from there you know what I'm trying to say. All right. Okay. So remember, if your Venus is in a bad position and things like that, doesn't mean you are a very greedy, a very selfish, self-centered person. It doesn't work that way. Vedic astrology is all about understanding our flaws and correcting it. Okay, this is where remedy comes in. So this is what I wanted to share with you in this video tonight. Hope it's beneficial, and I will see you soon. Take care. Namaste.